All right, in this video, we're going to be talking about dimensional analysis. Now, in dimensional analysis, what we have is going to be a conversion factor. This is going to be a number that is going to be used to change one set of units to another. A very common conversion factor that we have is going to be that 60 seconds is equal to 1 minute. Now, we're able to use that conversion factor to convert our seconds to minutes or vice versa. Now, whenever we're converting, the unit to be canceled is going to be placed on the diagonal of the conversion factor. And so what that means is that we're going to really look at our units and look on the diagonal of whatever we're trying to convert. Let's go ahead and take a look at our first example. All right, so we are going to have 358.3 inches, and we're going to want to convert those to feet. So one of the big things that we know is that 12 inches is going to be equal to 1 foot. And so that right there is going to be our conversion factor that we are going to use. Now, to start us off, we're going to have our conversion chart, which is going to be set up like this. Now, what's going to go in the top left is going to be whatever is going to be provided in the problem itself or in the question. So this will be our 358.3 inches. So that is going to go right down here. So 358.3 inches. Now, the units are going to be important. Now, whenever we take a look at this, we have our inches in this diagonal, which means that we are going to need inches on this diagonal. Now, looking at our conversion factor, the only thing that has inches is going to be our 12 inches. So that is going to go into this spot. So our 12 inches is going to go in that diagonal. Now, whatever that is equal to is going to go on top. Now, in this case, our 12 inches is going to be equal to 1 foot. So our 1 foot will go on top. Now, we're ending in feet, which is what we're trying to find in our problem. So this means that we are able to solve. Now, how we are going to solve this is that we are going to multiply the top and then divide it by the bottom. So in this case, we're going to get 358.3 times 1 divided by 12. And whenever we do that, we are going to get our 29.86 feet as our answer. Now, when we are talking about dimensional analysis, we also need to take into account our significant figures. Our 358.3, this has 4 significant figures to it, which means that our answer will also need to have 4 significant figures. Let's go ahead and take a look at our next example. All right, now we're going to convert our answer from the previous question into yards. So we are going to look at our previous question to find what we need. So in our example 1, we had 29.86 feet, and we're going to want to convert that to yards. Now, what we know is that 1 yard is equal to 3 feet. And so we're going to be able to use that conversion factor to convert those feet to yards. We are going to go ahead, we're going to set this up in our conversion table. Now, whatever we are starting with is going to go into the first area. So this will be our 29.86 feet. Now, we have feet on top, which means that on the diagonal, I will also need to have feet. Now, the only number that also has feet with it is going to be our 3 feet from our conversion factor. So our 3 feet from up here. So our 3 feet will come down here. Whatever that is equal to will go on top. Now, we know that is equal to 1 yard. So our 1 yard is going to go on top. And then we are able to solve. Again, how we are going to solve these is that we're going to multiply the top, divide it by the bottom. And so whenever we do 29.86 times 1 divided by 3, we are going to get 9.535 yards. Taking a look at question 2, we are going to convert our answers from the previous question into yards. Now, what we had from our previous question was our 29.86 feet. And so that is going to be what we're starting with. We're going to be able to put this into our conversion table. Now, remember that whatever we are going to be starting with is going to go into our first area. So this will be our 29.86 feet. Now, with our feet on top, that means that we are going to need feet on the diagonal. Now, from our conversion, the only thing with feet is going to be our 3 feet. So our 3 feet is going to come into this diagonal right here. Whatever that is equal to is going to go on top. Now that is going to be equal to 1 yard. So our 1 yard will be on top. Now we are ending in yards, which is what we are trying to solve for. So we know that we're able to go ahead and solve this setup. We are going to get 29.86 times 1 divided by 3. This will provide us a number of 9.953 yards. And that is going to be our answer. Now, let's make sure that we are all good with our significant figures. If we take a look at our 29.86, we have 4 significant figures. Our final answer will also have 4 significant figures in it as well. Now, for our third example, what we're going to do is that we're going to convert our 358.3 inches directly into yards. So what we're going to do is that we're going to have our normal setup. We are going to start with what we are provided in the question, which is our 358.3 inches. Now we have inches on top, which means that we need to have inches on the diagonal. Now, if we remember from our first question, we had our 12 inches, and our 12 inches are going to be equal to that 1 foot. So that 1 foot is able to go on top. Now, we are in feet. However, the question is asking us to solve in yards. So what we're going to do is that we are going to expand the table just one more time. Now that we have feet on top, we need to have our feet on the diagonal. If we look at our example 2, this was our 3 feet. And our 3 feet were going to be equal to our 1 yard. Now we're ending in yards, which is what we were trying to solve for. So that means that we are able to go ahead and we are able to solve. Now, the best way to solve multi-step problems is that we are going to multiply the top, we're going to get our answer, multiply the bottom, and get our answer. So for the top, it is 358.3 times 1 times 1, which will be 358.3. Now the bottom will be our 12 times our 3, which will be 36. So what we're going to do, take the 358.3, divide it by our 36. In order to get our answer, which our answer is going to be our 9.953 yards. And that will be our final answer. All right, if we take a look at this example, it says that before the use of money, people bartered for goods they needed. If 25 chickens could be traded for one pig, 10 pigs could be traded for one cow, and 2 cows traded for 3 horses. How many horses could be exchanged for 1,500 chickens? All right, so we're going to start this like any other problem, and we're going to use our normal setup. Now, we're going to start with our 1,500 chickens because that is what is provided to us in the problem. So that will be our 1,500, and I'll just use C in order just to shorten the word chickens. All right, now that we have our chickens on top, we know that we're going to need our chickens on this diagonal. Now, along with our diagonal, from the question, it says that 25 chickens can be traded for one pig. So this will be our 25 chickens, and those are able to be traded for one pig. All right, so now and everything we are in terms of pigs, but we're wanting to get to horses. So we're going to expand this another time. All right, we have our pigs on top, which means that we need to have pigs on our next diagonal. If we take a look at the question, it does say that our 10 pigs could be traded for one cow. So this will be our 10 pigs. And then those are able to be traded for one cow. Now, we are in terms of cows, but we're trying to get to horses. So we're going to have one more expansion of our chart. Okay, we have cows on top. So that means that we're going to need to have cows on the diagonal. Looking at our last conversion provided to us by the question, it says that 2 cows are able to be traded for 3 horses. So our 2 cows will go on the bottom, and then our 3 horses are able to go on top. Now, we are ending in horses, which is what we are trying to find. So that means that we are able to solve. We are going to multiply everything on the top, multiply everything on the bottom, and then divide. However, the best way to do this for a multi-step problem is that we're first going to multiply everything on top. So we are going to get 1,500 times 1 times 1 times 3, and that will provide us 4,500 as our number. Now we're going to multiply everything on the bottom, which will be our 25 times our 10 times 2, and that will be 500. Now that I multiplied the top and I have multiplied the bottom, we're able to go ahead and divide those. So we're going to get 4,500 divided by 500, and that is going to provide us with our answer of 9. Now this is going to be our 9 horses because that is what we're ending up solving for. So our horses being our last unit, our answer will also be in terms of horses. Taking a look at our next example, we are going to go ahead and convert 500 grams to ounces. This is if 1 pound is equal to 454 grams and 16 ounces is equal to 1 pound. All right. So we're going to start with our conversion chart. We're going to start with what is provided to us in the question, which will be our 500 grams. So our 500 grams will be into this top area right here. Now we have grams on top, which means that we are going to need to have grams on the diagonal. The only number that is provided in the question with grams is 454. So 454 grams will be on the bottom, and then whatever that is equal to will go on top, which in this case is 1 pound. Now that we have converted to pounds, we are able to go ahead and convert to ounces. So we need to expand the chart one more time. We have our pounds on top, so we need to have the same on the diagonal. Looking at our conversions, we should notice that we have 1 pound, and our 1 pound is going to be equal to our 16 ounces. So our 16 ounces is going to go on top. And then we are able to solve. So we're ending in ounces. That is what the question is asking us to find. So we're able to solve. Again, the best way to solve these multi-step problems is that we're going to multiply the top first, multiply the bottom, and then we are going to divide. So if I multiply everything on the top, that is 500 times 1 times 16 to equal 8,000. Then our bottom will be 454 times 1, which will be 454. So I'm going to get 8,000 divided by 454 in order to get our answer of 17.6 ounces as our answer. Now, we do need to make sure with our significant figures as well. So our 500 does have a decimal right here, so that is going to be our 3 significant figures, which means that our answer will also have 3 significant figures in it as well. Let's go ahead and take a look at another example. In this example, it's asking how many grams are in 2.33 moles of water if 1 mole is equal to 18.02 grams. We're going to go ahead, set this up as normal. Whatever is provided in the question is going to be what we start with, which will be our 2.33 moles. Now, with our moles up top, we know we're going to need to have moles on the diagonal. Looking at our problem, it does provide us with that conversion. So we have our 1 mole, and that 1 mole is going to be equal to our 18.02 grams. Now that I'm ending in grams, and that is what the question is asking me to solve for, I am able to go ahead and multiply and divide this out. So again, we're going to multiply the top, we are going to divide the bottom in order to get our answer. Now in this case, it is 2.33 times 18.02 divided by 1. And that is going to get us 42.0 grams of our H2O. That and everything will be our answer. Let's go ahead and take a look at just one more example. In this example, it's asking how many seconds are in 24 hours. We're going to start our setup as normal. Whatever is provided to us in the question, in this case 24 hours, is going to go in our first spot. With our hours on top, we know we're going to need hours on the diagonal. Now, because we are going from hours to seconds, we are going to need to know that we have to go through minutes. So, what we're going to have is that in 1 hour, there is going to be 60 minutes. So right there, with my 1 hour is equal to 60 minutes, I can easily convert my 24 hours to minutes. But our question is asking us to convert it to seconds, so we need to expand this chart one more time. We have minutes up top, so that means that on the diagonal, we also need to have minutes. Now, we need to convert the minutes to seconds, So we are going to have our 1 minute, and our 1 minute is going to be equal to our 60 seconds. Seconds are the units that I'm ending in. That is what the question is asking me to find. So that means that I'm able to go ahead and multiply the top and divide the bottom. In this case, it is 24 times 60 times 60, and that is going to get us 86,000 seconds. And that right there will be our answer. Now, if I want to just double check with my significant figures, my 24 has 2 significant figures to it. If I look at my 86,000, it does not have a decimal, so I'm only looking at the 8 and 6, which is 2 significant figures. And that is going to be a quick look at our dimensional analysis.